So in this part we will see about error detecting codes and the other remaining codes. So error detecting codes are the codes or the numeric codes in which we detect the errors in the message. So if there is a single bit error, then we can detect it very easily with the help of what is called as parity codes. So error detecting codes are required when we transmit some data over the channel, and if it is a digital data, then due to noise there may be some error which may occur. So if you are transmitting a bit of a number of bits, a group of bits together, and if the group of bits gets affected by noise, due to which the zeros or ones in the bit word gets changed, so 0 becomes 1 or 1 becomes 0. If this happens, and the condition is there should only be one such error. So if there is only one such error, then we can detect it with the help of parity codes. So this particular type of codes are required when we have to detect error in the message or in the received message. So if we receive some message at the receiver end, and if we find that later on that it is not equal to the what was transmitted, so to detect the error, so the received message should be equal to the transmitted message. If it is not same, then it is said to be having some error. So how to detect it and how we do this parity codes? So let's say we are transmitting the number in 8421 code. So the decimal digits are 0 to 9, and we know that for every this decimal digit we have its equivalent 8421 code. Now let us suppose that we are transmitting this 8421 code from the transmitter end to the receiver end, and at the receiver end we should get the same message which we have transmitted. So to confirm it, we add an extra bit at the transmitter end itself, so that at the receiver end the number of bits, the number of ones in the code word can be checked. So the receiver should know that the transmitted parity is of which type first of all. So the extra bit which we add to detect the error is called a parity bit. So this code particularly can just detect the single bit error. It cannot correct, in fact, and it cannot detect multiple number of errors. So let's suppose we talk about odd parity. So in odd parity, the number of ones in the code, including the parity bit, including the extra bit which we have added to detect the error, should be odd number of ones. So the number of ones in the message, if is 1, then the number of ones in the message if is odd, then we call it as odd parity. Whereas if the number of ones in the message including the extra bit is if even number of ones are there, then we call it even parity. So there are two type of parity bits which can be included. One can be odd parity and the other is of even parity type. So suppose we have transmitted a code word 0000 in 8421 code. Now to check the odd parity, so you see this number of zeros in number of ones in this message is 0, so there is no one in this 8421 code. Now if we are using odd parity, so the number of ones in the message including the parity should be 1, odd number of ones. So as in this message there is 0 ones, so 0 is an even number, so there is no 1, so one should be included to make it odd number of ones in the complete message. so we'll include 1 here. Next let us see if we want to include, rather than odd parity, if we want to include even parity bit. So even parity, as the number of ones should be 0, or even number of ones should be there in this code. So as 0 is an even number, so we have to include 0 here. So even parity bit will be 0. Similarly, let us randomly check it for this code. So let's say for 3, if we have transmitted 8421 code for 3 decimal digits. So at the transmitter end we have 3 as a decimal number, and we have transmitted it in 8421 code. So in 8421 code the number will be 0011, and we want to detect, or we want to include the odd parity for it. So the number of ones should be odd number of ones. So 2 number of ones are there present in the code, and if we want to make it odd number of ones, so we have to include one more 1. So we have included one extra 1 as an parity bit. So you see the total number of ones in the message including the parity bit will become 3, and now it is satisfying the criteria that there are odd number of ones. So this is a correct parity bit. Similarly, the odd even parity for this particular thing will be 0. Now if we receive the message at the receiver end and it have equal, if this message is received with having an odd parity, and if the received message have odd number of ones, so we assume that the code word is correct. Whereas if there is a single error, then one of the bit will get changed, and the number of bits left in the code word will not be odd, and it will be even. So 2 number of ones will be there. Or if 0 gets affected, then also the number of ones will be even number of ones. So if we receive at the receiver end even number of ones in an odd parity system, then we say that the code word is having some error. Else, if we receive odd number of ones in an odd parity system, so then we call, or we assume that the code word is correct. That is the reason that this coding scheme, error detecting scheme, is useful only for one single bit error. If there are multiple bit errors, then the number of ones may be again become even or odd. That is why this is not useful for multiple number of errors. But for this course, we will only consider one bit error, and parity bit code is useful to detect one bit error. Now let us move to another advanced detecting scheme, which is called error correcting code. It is also sometimes called error detecting and correcting codes, but it is also called as error correcting code only. So error correcting code, this particular code which we are going to see, will be called as Hamming code. So we will see Hamming code in this scheme, and this Hamming code is useful to detect and correct only a single bit error. It cannot correct multiple bit errors. So for example, in this course we will see the simplest type of error correcting code, and this error correcting code is Hamming code, as I have told you already. So this code not only detects but corrects the error, and this error is a single bit error. It's not a multiple bit error. So how to form, as we have seen in the last slide, that how to form a parity code. Similarly, we will see how to make a Hamming code from a message signal, and then how to correct the error if there is any error in the message, or if there is any error in the received message, in the received Hamming code. If there is any error in the received Hamming code, then how to detect it and correct it. So this is what we are going to see. So we are going to see two things. First is we are going to see how to write a Hamming code, and then later on we will see how to detect the error in a Hamming code and correct it. Okay. So first we will see how to form a Hamming code. To form a Hamming code, let us try to understand it with the help of an example. Let us say a message is transmitted and the message have m number of bits in the message. So if the message have m number of bits, then the number of parity bits, or the number of number of bits, which will be called parity bits, and the total message including the parity bits will be now called the Hamming code. So the simplest one is the 7-bit Hamming code. So let us say the message is having m number of bits. So the number of parity bits will be which we will require will be how much? It will be satisfied. It will be given by this formula. Okay. So how to find this formula? It is, if let's suppose the number of bits in the message which we have transmitted is m, so and the number of parity bits required is, let's say, k. So the total word length will be m plus k. So as this word is a 7-bit Hamming code, so we can easily say that the code is having the message is of 4-bit and the number of parity bits will be 3. So that is why the code word will be of 7 bits. Okay, so the total number of bits in the code will be m plus k. This means this. Now, how to define, how to know that how many number of parity bits will be required? To know the number of parity bits, we have to satisfy this criteria. And why this criteria? Because the number of possible combinations which we will require to correct the errors, to detect and correct the errors should be, in each of the group there should be at least m minus 1 number of message bits. Okay. So to form such number of bits, such number of groups, because if there are, let's say in this case there are 4 message bits, so we will form 3, we have to form 3 bits, 3 groups to detect the error and then correct the error. So to form the 3 groups, we will require 3 parity bits. In each group there will be 1 parity bit will be included. That is why we require this formula. So you don't need to go into details, but you just remember that the number of parity bits which should be included in a parity code, in a Hamming code, in a x-bit Hamming code, will be given by 2 to the power k should be greater than equal to m plus k plus 1, where m is the number of bits in the message, k is the number of parity bits. Okay. Now you see, for example, if we have 4 number of message bit, as I have already told you, so the number of bits required for k will be 3. You can easily satisfy this. So 4 here, if I suppose m is equal to 4 and if I don't know suppose k, so if I substitute k is equal to 2, so how much it will become? The LHS will be 2 to the power 2, so this will be 4 and this is already 4, so if you will add 2 to it, the condition, the criteria will not be satisfied. So to satisfy this criteria, we will have to further increase the value of k. Now if we make the value of k equal to 3, then this 2 to the power 3 will be equal to 8, and let's say if we choose randomly as k is equal to 3, then 4 plus 3 is 7 plus 1 8. So now you can see that this criteria is now satisfied. That is why, very simple, that we have to choose k is equal to 3. So this is how we choose the number of parity bits in a Hamming code. And how to write a Hamming code? Let's say the message given to us is, the question is something like this, that encode a data bit 0110 using even parity Hamming code. Okay. So we want even parity Hamming code. Even parity Hamming code means that each group will have even number of, it should have even number of ones. Which group? The groups which we will this particular code, this whole code will be divided into subgroups to detect the error and then to correct the errors. So we will like to know that the error is at which place. So if there is any error, we have to first detect that the error is at which place. So after finding the place at which the error is there, then we have to correct it. So there are two objectives to meet. So first of all, let us say we want to write the correct Hamming code for the given message. So how we will form the correct Hamming code. So let's say the message given is 0110 and this has to be coded in a Hamming code. So how to code it using the Hamming code? So the order of the bits will be like this. What? It will be, we have to start from the MSB. So MSB will be our parity bit. Okay. So you see, we will start from the MSB. So the locations of the parity bits. So we have to also decide the number of the location of the parity bits in the code. Okay. So the parity bits will come in between. Okay. And the place of the parity bits will be given by this particular formula. Okay. So the place bits, the parity bits will be placed at this locations starting from the MSB or from the leftmost side. So the parity bit will come at 2 to the power 0 place. So 2 to the power 0 is 1. So 2 to the power 0 from the left side. Okay, not from, I am not talking about the LSB. In this particular case, only for the Hamming code, you remember we are moving from left hand side, not from the right hand side. So 2 to the power 0 is this place. So we will keep the parity bit at this place. Then 2 to the power 2 is our 2 to the power 0 is 1, 2 to the power 1 is 2. So 2 to the power 1 is 2. So this place. Okay. Then 2 to the power 3. Okay. 2 to the power 2, sorry. 2 to the power 1 was 2. 2 to the power 2 is 4. So this next parity bit will come at fourth location. So this is first location, second location, third location, and this is the fourth location. So this is how we have to choose the parity location. So in the code where the parity bits will come, so that will be given by this formula starting from the MSB, not from the LSB. And why I am stressing this point is because 2 to the power 0, whenever usually we have to talk, we start from the LSB and not from the MSB. But in case of Hamming code, you just remember it that we have to start from the MSB side. Now, to find the correct parity bit, what we have to do? We have to form the groups. So the groups are formed. How we form the group? We form the group in such a way that in each group there should be only one parity bit and the remaining message bits. So the first group will have P1, M3, M5, M6 and M7. Sorry, first group will be like P1, then M3, then M5 and then M7. So the bits which are coming at this particular locations 1, 3, 5, 7 will be taken as the first group. And when we say that we want to form an even parity Hamming code, it means that the 1, 3, 5, 7 subgroup should have even number of ones in it. Okay. Why we have chosen 1, 3, 5, 7? Because this particular, at this locations, we are getting only one parity bit, whereas the other 3 bits are the message bits. The bits of the message. And how we have chosen this number? So M3, M5, M6, M7 are the message bits. We could have written it M1, M2, M3, M4 also, but just for simplicity, to maintain the order from 1 to 7, we have written it like this, so that it is easier for us to write this code. This is what the reason is. Okay. Now the second group will be 2, 3, 2, 3 and then 6, 7. So the next code word, next subgroup from this complete code will be 2, 3, 6, 7. Okay, again it is an even parity, so we have to form even parity. So let's say in the first group, let's say if I want to find that what will be my P1, so you can see that I'll start from again from the same this 1 3 5 7 subgroup. So 1 3 5 7 is 1 3 5 and 7. So you can see in this message there is only 1 1. So to make it even number of ones, this parity bit should be also equal to 1. Okay, so this is, we have to make P1 is equal to 1. Okay, this is what is written later also. So you will find that P1 is equal to 1 we are getting. Okay, now let's come back to the second group. So the second group is 2 3 6 7. In this also you will see that this the message bit at M6 is 1, whereas the other bits are 0. Now what should be this P2? So P2 should be again 1. To make it even parity, we have to make P2 is equal to 1. So P2 if becomes 1, then this also satisfies, this group is, the condition for this group is also satisfied. Now what about P3? So there is no P3, P3 or we can call it P4. Okay, so there is a mistake, it is written P3 here, whereas it is written P4 here. So you make it either this P4 or this P3. So it is better to make this as P4. Okay, so P4 will be equal to select P4 to establish every parity even bit. So next group will be 4 5 6 7. So choosing this groups only we will have one parity bit. Okay, and this is we have taken in the increasing order. Okay, starting from the MSB. So 4 5 6 7. So this position, this see 5 and 6 is already having ones. So if we want to make an even parity bit, so x should be equal to 0. Okay, so P4, the value of P4 will so be equal to 0. Okay, so this is what it is written. Now in this code there are only 3 unknown numbers, 3 unknown bits, P1, P2 and P4. So we have found that the value of P1, P2 and P4 satisfying this criteria. So P1 will be equal to 1, P2 will also be equal to 1 and P4 will be equal to 0. So if we substitute all this value in this code, then whatever we will get will be called as the Hamming code for this message 0110, right? So the Hamming code for 0110 will be 1 1 0 0 1 1 0. So in this code we have written P1 at X place, P2 is 1 at this place and 0 at this place. So by just substituting the value of P1, P2, P4 in this code word, we get the correct Hamming code. So this is the method to form the Hamming code. Okay. Now once the correct Hamming code is formed, so this Hamming code will be transmitted from the transmitter and will be received at the receiver end. Now we have to find now what if there is any error, then we have to find what is the error location and what is the correct bit. So if we are able to find the correct bit, locate the correct position, then we can find we can change that bit. Okay, so we have to do that. So how to determine the bit location, the location of the error. So where the error will be, where is the which bit is affected. Okay, which bit is affected, so we want to find it. So that can be found by simple this formula, which is nothing but, you see what we write like a table for this. So the error, because you see there are 7 bits, so the error can be at any of the place from 1 to 7. Okay, so to detect the error, or there can be there can be the possibility in which there is no error. So there are in all total 8 possibilities. So one possibility is of no error, whereas the other 7 possibilities is of the other 7 possibilities are that any of the bit can be affected in this Hamming code. So how to detect the location? So to detect the location, we have to find this C1, C2 and C3. Okay, and if we write them in this order, so the equivalent decimal number if we find of the C3, C2, C1, then that will give you the particular bit location. Okay, so how to find this C1, C2, C3? to find the C1, C2, C3, what we have to just a minute. So what we have to do here is we have to XOR this. So our C1 will be equal to, see, our first group was 1, 3, 5, 7. Second group was 2, 3, 6, 7, right? And the fourth group was 4, the third group was 4, 5, 6, 7. So we don't have, we have to do, we just have to do the XORing of them. Okay. So to find C1, what we do is we XOR P1, M3, M5 and C1. And we ignore the MSBs and we take the LSBs only. Okay. So if there is any MSB also, you ignore it and you just take the LSB. So if suppose you take the LSB, if you take two code word, 2 bits P1 and M3 and you get something, you XOR again, okay, to M5, and then whatever is your answer, XOR that answer to with M7. So finally whatever you get, 1 or 0, note it down as C1. Okay. Similarly for C2 and C3. So C2 will be P2 XOR M3 XOR M6 XOR M7. Similarly C3 will be equal to M4 XOR M5 XOR M7 XOR M7. So if we do this and then we write them in this order, so if we write the C3 is our MSB whereas C1 is our LSB. So if we write them in this order, then particular location, if this C3, C2, C1 is, let's say, binary 3, so then our bit location will be 3. Okay. So we'll understand this with the help of an example. Let us see the example now. So suppose we have to construct the error Hamming code, and then we have to detect the error location. So first we will generate the Hamming code and then later on we will detect it. So two examples we will see. So in this example, let us say we have to generate the 7-bit Hamming code for the message 0110. So this is same as the previous example which we have seen. So let's say the original BCD message is this. Now we want to find the parity checks. Okay, so even parity we are talking about. So this is even parity. So you see, again we will take the group 1357 and then to make this 1357 even number of ones in this message. So you see, I have shown those messages, those message bits by 1357 by red color. So 1357 we have taken here. So 1, 3, 5 and 7. So this 1357, okay, 1357. So this is unknown and these others are remaining. So we want this group to have even number of ones. So this group should have even number of ones in it. So there is, remaining P1 is not P1 is unknown to us because in this message we know M1, M2, M3 and M4. You can write it anything. In the previous slide we have shown it in a different way. This slide we are showing it in a different way. We could have shown it the other way around also. But the important point is this is our message signal and these are our parity bits. So P1, P2, P3 are our parity bits, whereas 3, 5, 6, the bits at this location 3, 5, 6, 7 are our message bits or the information bits. So P1 should be equal to 1. Okay. Similarly, in the next group, if we choose the 2, 3, 6, 7 bits, then 2, 3, 6, 7. So 2, 3, 6 and 7. So the message bits are 3, 6 and 7. So as this is a even parity, even number of ones should be there. So as there is no one in the M3, M5, M1, M3 and M4 position, so this P2 should also be equal to 0. So P2 we have chosen as 0. Now on the same lines we can choose P3. So to make even number of ones in the selected this 4, 5, 6, 7 location. So you see we have to include P3 as, we have to make P3 is equal to 1. So P3 we have made equal to 1. So P3 is our 1 now. So our total code word, the correct coded message will be this one this 0 again at this location, then 1, okay, from this location, then the other remaining code words. So 100. So correct code word will be 1001100. So this is how you form the Hamming code for a given code word. Now let us see that how to correct the Hamming code. Okay, so to correct the Hamming code, this is the example to correct the Hamming code. So let's say the example in this question is we have to detect the single bit error in the message. So the message which we have received at the receiver end is something like 1101101, and this message is having some error, some single bit error. This is already written. So we want to detect the error in this and have to correct it also. Okay, detect the single bit error in the message and correct it. So this is a noisy, this message is infected by the noise and it is wrong. Okay, it is not correct. So we have to correct it. We have to detect the bit location where the error occurred and then we have to correct it. So how to do it? So you see, first of all, the message will write the received message. Okay, and these are the bit locations. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, we have written the positions, and then we have written under that the message received, the received message we have written. So this is the same message. Now what we will do to detect the error and correct it, first of all we will check even parity. Okay, so let's say we start from one of the groups. So we can start from 4 5 6 7, 2 3 6 7 or 1 3 5 7. These are the same groups, 1 3 5 7, 2 3 6 7 or 4 5 6 7. We have written here in the reverse order. Okay, so 4 5 6 7 if we take, then you see 4 4 5 6 and 7. So if I take this 4 5 6 7, I find that it is having odd number of ones. So there is some error in this. Okay, so this should have even number of ones. Okay, because this is showing you odd number of ones, so there is error in this. Okay, so if what I have to do, I have to XOR all of them. So if I XOR all of them, this 1 XOR with 1, XOR with 0 and XOR with 1, so I will get C3 equal to 1. Okay, so this is whatever I will get after XORing all of the bits. If it is 1, we will make it as C3 is equal to 1. If it is 0, then this C3 will be equal to 0. Okay, the next group is 2 3 6 7. Again, for this group we will check the even parity. So we check 2 3 6 7. So 2 3 and 6 7. So 2 3 and 6 7 is having even number of ones. So you see 2 3 6 7. So even parity is satisfying. So our C2, if we XOR all of them, so we will get 0. So C2 is 0. Okay, no error. So whenever there is error, just remember, if you get odd number of ones in the message, C3 will be, or the C will become 1, and if you get even number of ones, so your C will be equal to 0. Okay, the correct location. So we'll find this location from the combination of the C1, C2, C3. Now moving on to the next group, if we see, so the next group is 1 3 5 7. So in this group also the number of ones are odd. So our corresponding to this, the parity check bit will be C1 will be equal to 1. Okay, so since parity is odd, so this is what is written. Now to find the correct location, we have to form the word from this. So our word should be C3, C2, C1. So C3 will become our MSB, whereas C1 will become our LSB. So the bit location will be 101. So this means the bit location is at 5th position. Okay, so the message is infected. This 5th position is infected from the left side. So you see 5th position is this one. So 5th position is this one. So this position is infected. Okay, so this position is wrong in this message. So here it is written that detect the single error in the message. So the error is at this place. So we have detected the error. So this should not be 1, rather this should be 0. Okay, because there are only two possibilities, 1 and 0. So if this should not be 1, then it should be 0 only. So the correct message will be what? We have to make this 5 as 0. So if we correct this location, so to make it, we have to first identify the bit position where the error occurred. So once we found that, then we can correct it. So our correct message will become 1 1. It is same as this 1 1, then 0 same, 1 same, but this one we have changed to 0. So 0. Then we will repeat them same. So 0 1. So the correct message, this was the received message at the receiver end. So the correct message should be this one. So this was the transmitted, and now we have received as the wrong message. We have, by the method of Hamming code parity, this Hamming code, we have detected and corrected the error in this message. So this is what the utility of the Hamming code, 7-bit Hamming code. You can form higher number of Hamming codes, but this is the simplest one, and so I have shown you that one. Now moving on to the last code, and this is alphanumeric codes. So up till now we have seen only numeric codes. Now in the last we will see alphanumeric codes. So what are alphanumeric codes? Why they are called alphanumeric codes? So alphanumeric codes, excuse me. So alphanumeric codes are the codes which represent or which encode not only the numeral values but also the alphabets, and the alphabets in capital letter and also the small letter form. So they encode the numerals as well as alphabets in capital and the small form, as well as they also denote or they encode some special characters also, like star, hash or something else. So these are the code words which encode not only numeral values but also the alphabets and some special characters. So this type of codes are called alphanumeric codes. It have alphabets as well as the numerals, and these codes are used to communicate between this input output devices of your computers. So what are your input output devices? Like keyboard, okay, like your keyboard, mouse or printer. So if you want to communicate between the computer, want to communicate between these peripherals, then you have to encode the incoming bits, okay, the incoming particular, let's say suppose you have pressed A on the keyboard. So the A on the keyboard is equal to something, some binary equivalent should be, it should be represented with some binary equivalent, and that binary equivalent is nothing but some alphanumeric code. There are various alphanumeric codes, but the two most popular and useful which are used nowadays are called ASCII and the EBCDIC code. So ASCII code is nothing but the full form of the ASCII code is American Standard Code for Information Interchange. So this is the full form, and this is the standardized code. So this is American Standard Code for Information Interchange. So for computers it is standardized, and this code is nothing but a 7-bit code word. Okay, so it is a this code will have 7 bits in it. So each alphabet or each numeral is represented by a code of 7 bits. So the bit length is 7. Now as this is a 7-bit code, so the number of possible combinations which you can represent with 7 bits are 2 to the power 7. So 2 to the power 7 is equal to 128. So this code can encode 128 alphanumerical or special characters. So in all it can encode 128 possibilities. So it have the space, I should say, space to encode 128 symbols. Okay, 128 symbols it can encode, and that's what I was telling, that 128 is sufficient. So it can encode and this numerals as well as it can encode small letters, capital letters and some special characters also. But this was the code which was used earlier, but now as the processor and your the number of symbols which you have to code are also, you have included more number of, we want to include more number of symbols to encode, so we use 8-bit code rather than the 7-bit code. So 7-bit code was used earlier, but nowadays for the current machines we use 8-bit codes. So this 8-bit code is called EBCDIC code. So EBCDIC code, the full form of EBCDIC is Extended Binary Coded Decimal Interchange Code. So it is Extended Binary Coded Decimal Interchange Code. Now this code is a 8-bit code, and in this code we can have 2 to the power 8 possible combinations. So 2 to the power 8 possible combinations means that we can encode 256 symbols with this code word. So it have 256 different code words, okay, which can be used to encode the characters. Okay, it can be anything, alphabets, numerals, or some special characters, and the capacity is just double with the 7 bits. So this is what the important thing is, that by increasing 1 bit you have increased the capacity by twice. So this was all about the codes. So in this lecture we have learned various different type of codes and their important properties. So we have seen sequential codes. So for sequential codes we have seen the arithmetic operations of the sequential codes. Then we have seen various non-weighted codes also, like the gray code, and then we saw that how to convert from one code to the another code. That is also important thing, because this conversion we can make the hardwares for this also. So in the next unit we will see that how to make the hardware for code conversion. We will do some of the experiments based on this also. The experiments will not be difficult one, but they will be simple. And as you know that to convert from one of the code to the other code, for example the gray code to the binary code, or from binary code to the gray code, we require just the XOR gate. So if we want to make the hardware, then whatever we have learned in this lecture will be useful in making the hardware for it, because that hardware will use only XOR gates. The inputs and outputs will come from the locations depending upon your conversion. So if you want to convert it from binary to gray or from gray to binary. So this lecture will be useful in your future lectures, in the study of the future topics also. Apart from that, we have seen the arithmetic operations and the error detecting and error correcting codes also. So there are also many other codes, but in this lecture I have tried to cover all the important codes only. So these are the codes which are usually asked in the competitive exams, and these are also asked in any of the, most of the exams. If you'll see university exams or in the competitive exams, so these are the codes which are usually specified, or like they emphasize on these codes, because these codes are more useful than the other codes. So we tried to cover all those things in this particular lecture. So you listen this lecture properly, and if you have any doubt related to it, you please ask me in the tutorial class. So thank you for listening to this lecture. Thank you everyone.